So let's talk about the gap.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? Are we talking about like where we bought our clothes in the 90s?
No, not that gap. We're talking about an appraisal gap. So what is an appraisal gap?
Okay, so the appraisal gap is the amount of money you're willing to pay over and above what the house actually appraises for.
So let me say that the term appraisal gap was not even a thing until about 3 years ago,
Right.
about 2020. And now we hear about it all the time. Here we are in 2023 and we're
And
talking
we're still
about
talking about
an
it.
appraisal gap. So give me an example of an appraisal gap.
So let's say you decide to buy a home for $300,000 and the appraisal comes back at $290,000. You're left with a gap, a $10,000 gap between those two numbers.
Yeah, in that example, so you've got the $10,000 appraisal gap. So that's extra $10,000 that you have to pay in addition to your down payment and closing costs. So these are things you just want to discuss in advance with your real estate agent in terms of strategy and your loan officer in terms of how much cash you're going to need to make the purchase happen.